I recently had the good fortune to interview Mike Rodgers, who is lead New Zealand men's rowing coach and one of the most winningest in New Zealand history, having won 4 Olympic, 7 World Championship, and over 20 World Cup medals. And we were talking all about the comparisons between an elite sporting team and an elite sales team. And the comparisons are absolutely everywhere. We've got some gold out of Mike, which we're going to be sharing in short little hits over the next few weeks. If you did want the complete 47-minute interview, all you need to do is comment Mike below. I'll be happy to get it to you. In the meantime, listen to some of the gold that Mike has to share. You're coaching, and you mentioned earlier, you're coaching elite athletes who are driven to succeed. So is there any secret formula for you when you're selecting people to go in a crew to prepare for the Olympics, to prepare for World Championships? How do you know someone's got what it takes from a mindset perspective?
We see them on a day-to-day basis, prior to them being selected into a crew, we have a set week that we call it trials. Well, I'd arguably say every day an athlete comes on the water, we're assessing them and sort of making decisions around them on their day-to-day performance, because although we always say the Olympics are only a week every 4 years that we'll race at, but to get to that point, you have to be able to work in a team environment. You have to commit to it really strongly. You have to know your whys. Interesting, you talked about your whys earlier, because that's generally one of my first questions. I'll sit my athletes down and I want you to write down now why you're a rower, why you want to go to the Olympics, why you want to be here on a day-to-day basis. As much for the fact of being able to come back to that why when days are pretty tough, when they're in the middle of a big training block. It's cold, frosty here at Lake Karapiro, and they don't want to go back. And you just tend to just mention the word why. Why did you decide to do this when you wrote it down on your bit of paper? And I'll recite sometimes what they wrote down. And all of a sudden they lift again. So basis is pretty much compatibility, competitiveness, and their performance on a day-to-day basis. So by the time we get to trials, we have a pretty good understanding of that person's ins and outs and what they bring on a day-to-day basis. Because particularly in a crew boat, you need to be able to get on with a group of people. But like in a work environment, if you're working in a team, you don't actually have to like each other, but you really have to respect each other. And that respect creates a really good common goal that everyone wants to achieve, and the dynamics work pretty well in that. I also rate myself as a pretty good listener, and I think it's really important here at rowing, but equally as important at my workshop, that you listen to what they want to say or what they have to say. You may not act on everything you hear, but deciding what's important and what's going to help the group, help the team, is really important to be able to, first of all, have them talk to you in a way that it's honest and truthful, and then you can answer it back in an honest and truthful way, whether you think that's important or whether you can brush it aside.